Hi, I want to briefly invite you to an activity, um, relational practice, inspired by the week's Jinky. Um, First of all, this is an activity, I don't know if I'll do it in a constant way every week, but it will be inspired by this week, the current week of the activity Jinki, taken from the page in the Jinki's site called The Pulse, where you can see which Jinki relates to this week, and here the recording of Richard Rudd talking about the Jinki, contemplating it, and I'll put the link to this Pulse page below. If you don't know about the Jinkies, you don't have to know what it is to join me. Actually, the activity that I'm inviting you to requires more of an experience in the relational or self-processing practices that I will mention further along this video. Knowing the gene keys, having experience with it is a plus, but it's not a requirement. Anyway, the gene keys, quite briefly, is a great book that Richard Rudd wrote, and there he offers a set of 64 archetypes that relate to the spiritual transformation of the human being. These 64 archetypes can be used in a practice called contemplation, and I want to offer other ways of being inspired by these jinkies as a way of connecting differently to this system of archetypes. So what I'm offering actually is a combination between the Jinki system and relational practices. And I'll explain now what I mean is what we'll do is we'll have about an hour, maybe if we'll be more than two people, a bit longer than an hour, maybe an hour and 15 minutes. And we'll convene in a main room where I'll mention the week's Jinki, which is its three aspects. You might know or not know that every Jinki, every one of the 64 Jinki has three aspects: the shadow, the gift, and the siddhi. So I'll mention those. They each have a name, a word, and I'll just briefly maybe quote something on each aspect from the Jinki's book. If you want to prepare to this meeting or practice, you can go beforehand and go into the Pulse page and listen to Richard contemplating the Jinki. It will be very helpful, but it's not a must. So I'll elaborate just very, very lightly on each aspect of the Jinki. And then you'll get to go into breakout rooms, into dyads. This practice, this event is about one-on-one meetings or relating. And then you can use the Jinky and its aspects as inspiration or as a launching pad or whatever you want to call it, to start you off in your relating to yourself and to the other. So we can do one of four practices because these are four practices that I myself can offer. So I'm offering into the space for whoever is experienced in those practices. One is focusing by Eugene Genling. Focusing is not a relational practice per se. It's more of a self-processing of somatic content and emotional content. So it's an emotional somatic processing method that can be done relationally with another person with many advantages. So you can do that. Just, for instance, take the aspect of the Jinky. Maybe you want to work with the shadow and use that to see, like, to feel into, and then see what arises in your own, from your own field, from your own body and psyche, and do focusing with that. First one person and then the other, switching. Okay, and you can use it as a launching pad for authentic relating if you're experienced with that. The way I would do it is just take the Jinky and create questions for each other, prompts according to that Jinky. Let's say the word of the shadow is like distraction. I don't remember if there is such a Jinky. So you can ask each other, where does distraction show up in your life? What do you like about distraction? What do you find problematic about it? Just create some questions for each other and go back and forth, or you can let one person relate around those prompts and then go to the other. You can also use it as an entry point into relatefulness or circling, or however you want to call it, session, if you're experienced with that. And you can also use the Jinky as inspiration for a contemplation session, but do it mutually, meaning if you're experienced with contemplation the way Richard Rudd teaches it, you can just contemplate out loud, but have another person listen to you and give you space and give you holding and also give you a bit of reflection at the end. So that is what we'll do. And that is a combination between the Jinkies and relational or somatic processing practices. And that is the way generally we'll do it. So this process will be very lightly managed by me. My only job is to give the frame and introduce a bit about the Jinkies at the start and meet you at the end and wrap up. Okay. If only one person will show up, you of course will work with me, and I'm experienced in all those modalities, so you can pick. If a few people will show up, we'll try to connect people that have experience in similar modalities. And if you don't have any experience, I will give you a bit of pointers to do authentic relating, which is the easiest, I would say the simplest one of them all. So no worries, you won't find yourself I don't think you find yourself disoriented, but I prefer people that have some experience with one of those modalities to come into this session. Because the combination of the two things, Jinkies and relational practice, is pretty powerful. And I don't want to overwhelm anyone. Okay, so that's it. I'll see you there if you are willing, and thank you.